Now we're gonna move on to chop it up
Let's
section.
move on to the chop it up section.
So, what are we chopping up today? What are we chopping up today?
So, I've been thinking, right, and through all this sort of controversies that's been happening, especially in the music and art world, I'm always very curious, and I've always wanted to ask you about this. Can you separate the artist from their artistry? And by that I mean, does what an artist do influence what they create, in your opinion? Or can you separate what the artist from what they create?
So you mean like the artist as a person?
Yeah.
And their art, or the transgression? So the artist...
As a person, the transgression they do as a personal human being, and the art that they create.
Me personally, I think you can, but then that water gets so muddy.
It does.
But I would stand by the fact that I think you can separate that. Because I think...
Why do you think that?
Because I think it's just like saying I work in a big firm, Deloitte, whatever, and then they have all these things that they do as a company. They, somewhere up the chain in the company, maybe there's accusations of, I don't know, not having fair trade in some of their investments. Can I step out of that office and be for fair trade?
Yeah.
Can I step out of that office and actively want to empower groups of small businesses in Africa and make sure that they get 100% of their profits? Absolutely, yes.
Can you? Even though you're supporting that,
even though I work, in Deloitte,
So directly you
not Deloitte, but anywhere else.
Yeah. So directly or indirectly, you're kind of supporting that in the first place. So would it not, in that case, would it not almost be sort of like an oxymoron?
I think I can see the argument for that, but for me, I think that with art, it's gotten to the point where both of them have merged into each other. Where ultimately, because as we see the shift in the way that we consume celebrity, everything. So everyone's got reality shows. So therefore we buy into the individual because we as a business want that to inspire people to try and purchase the art that these people create because you see the life they live and you think, oh, they're really cool. Actually, I'll buy their music or I'll buy this. So that has created those blurred lines. Because back in the days, we didn't really know what artists did. We didn't know how they lived their life. We just consumed the package that they've created for us. So therefore, they existed in two separate worlds. You know, you bought the music, you thought they were great and they were talented, and you moved on. You never knew what they did in their life until a story might have broken out somewhere. Now, those worlds have completely interfaced. So therefore, as you're consuming the artist's music, you're seeing when they're creating it, you're seeing how they look at the reactions that people get by looking at their Twitter feed, and everything is just completely merged into one. So therefore, it's become harder to separate both. But I think, obviously, clear examples of, because I had conversations with people, like there's a woman who I was speaking with recently, and she was like, like I could listen to Chris Brown, but I can't listen to R. Kelly. I'm like, okay, express that. Because as a woman, Chris Brown clearly has had cases of domestic violence with women. But for some reason, that's somewhat okay, because her reasons was she sort of watched this documentary. He acknowledged the fact that he did that, and he accepted that he was wrong in that regard. So therefore, she could overlook that. And she loves the fact that he makes good music. That's fine. So I gave but she said she cannot listen to R. Kelly because
he's not admitted to it.
Yeah. So therefore, technically, he's not committed any crime. Because if we are looking at the law for what it is, of course, there are various things that are factual in that he married Aaliyah before she was 15. We've seen a video of him urinating on a girl who definitely was a minor. So those are factual things that we can deduce from our own moral standing, that's not something that I like. But the point is, can you then listen to I Believe I Could Fly and not say that's an incredible piece of music. Whatever that song does to you, or you listening to that song and feeling within your skin that, oh, this is a song made by a pedophile, I cannot enjoy it. That's the bit that I find difficult to reconcile. The fact that you could listen to the music that was created, not necessarily while this person is doing this act, just as their artistic self, creating music, which could be incredible and absolutely groundbreaking. But for you to say because of what they do, which absolutely we can't judge them for that, but I just think the two are separate. You cannot then say the music is whack. Oh, I'm not going to listen to the music because it's created by this person. Because when we create art, I think as creators, we are not in control of what that art does to other people. So I could create art because I was depressed. I could create art because I was depressed, but then someone looks at the art and think this is so uplifting to me. I have no policing over how that person consumes the art. And that's the beautiful thing about art, because as a creator, you lose every sense of direction when that art goes into the world. You cannot direct people how to feel, how to consume the art. So therefore, you can separate both, in my opinion. That's my own thoughts about that. What would you say?
Now, with me, I asked that question, but it's 100% you can't separate the two. And before I even go into that, I've just got a little rant that I need to do.
Get your Kanye on.
You do not know this. But yeah, for me, it's very, very simple, right? So the idea that we kind of hold these artists to these perfect beings are ridiculous to me in the first place, right? Because to be that great, to be almost that, to have a genius-like talent, it's a trade-off. You're almost a little bit deranged. You don't think the way a normal person will think. So when we expect these celebrities to come up with these amazing, like, almost the cure for life, I go, are you crazy, right? Because think about it this way. An artist, or a very, very good one, is like a surgeon, or it's like a specialist. For them to be that good, what do they have to do? They have to concentrate everything. They almost have to fixate on that one thing that they're doing, almost in regard of everything else. They've got to almost leave everything else and just focus on that. So this person who maybe is coming out of an album or a painting or whatever, spend years, months, honing in on this thing, forgetting everything else that's around them in an almost selfish manner, right? If you held a mic to that person and go, oh, could you tell me the cure for cancer? And that person gives you a ridiculous answer, why are you surprised? Because that person, you're actually more knowledgeable than that person. So that is one thing. Let's put that aside for a second, right? But my thing is, the art and that person, as long as the art is not telling you to live the life of that person, those are completely different things. So if someone has done a heinous crime, they've done a heinous crime. But if their art is not telling you to go do the heinous crime, then listen to the art, don't listen to that person, because that person is not the art. It's like...
What if their art was telling you to do the heinous crime?
If that person is doing the heinous crime, the art is telling you that, then you got a right to protest, because at the end of the day...
What if they're just telling you a story?
If they're telling you a story... So once again, that's another interesting one. Because if they're telling you a story, they're telling you a story. We do not persecute people for telling you a story. If that's the case, then we'll be persecuting Stephen King, we'll be persecuting all these amazing authors, right? But an artist, and that's one thing that sometimes we seem to forget. As much as these artists say things from a first person's experience, they are authors at the end of the day. They are telling you a story that they may have seen or they may have heard. Maybe they have done it in the past, but they're definitely not doing it anymore. Because if they are, then I had a conversation with the other day, Jay-Z would have caused a genocide by now. The more people that he's killed, right? But we know when they say these things, they're exaggerating sometimes. Yet they might be perpetuating a stereotype. So that's another thing that we can come to another time. But at that point in time, we know they're telling us a story. It might be coming from a first point of view. Fair enough, but they're telling us a story. So once again, if the artist is telling me something that I do not believe in, I will not be listening to him in the first place. But if the artist is telling me something that I can buy into, I'm not looking at the art, because at the end of the day, the artist is another human being. So I would rather go to my mate for them to give me an advice than watch what an artist has done on Instagram and go, oh, this is how I'm gonna live my life by. Because I cannot even live my life by that rule because they live in a bubble that I could never be in the first place. So we need to stop holding these artists to
high esteem.
This high esteem, and then be all shocked when they actually behave the way they're supposed to behave, because this person actually lives in the bloody bubble and goes through their day unlike yours. So yeah, you definitely can't separate the artist from the artistry. And I think that's, as human beings, that's what we need to do.
Absolutely. I think it's really interesting because obviously there have been examples recently that have kind of brought that to the fore. Like, for example, you know, the American rapper that got killed a couple of weeks ago, Triple X Tentacion, you know.
Hard name to pronounce, by the way.
Huh?
Hard name to pronounce.
Very hard. I mean, it took a while, bro. Where there are allegations and cases against him with domestic abuse and domestic violence and assault historically. And when he got killed, there was this feeling that people was like, yeah, it serves him right anyway, because he was someone who was known to have domestically abused someone or whatever. And that really kind of, you know, made me really think about just the fact that as a culture, you know, this cancel culture, the fact that someone did something, I mean, he's not been convicted for it, right? But the allegations are out there. And all of a sudden, people demonized him and the music that he makes. I don't know enough about his music to say whether his music was great enough to stand completely separate to him in terms of, I don't know what he spoke about in his music, but there's a lot of people that say his music helped them to deal with some of the things that they were going through. And to see that those two things can coexist. If he has cases of domestic violence or whatever, but can he not still make music that can uplift people? And are the both of them, is one negated by the other? And for me, I just find that really interesting that people were quick to basically cast a judgment on his sort of validity to face death as a penalty for what he's not been convicted for, as a justification for the fact that they think he's a bad human being. So therefore he deserves to die, and his art
just
reflects
so sad
that
sometimes. I think it's just it's a human thing. I think we are that kind of creature. I always say we've got such amazing capability to do beautiful things, but in the same breath, we've got this amazing cruelty that's in us as well, that we can just unleash on the next human being. So we always like to justify things because, once again, we need to put things in boxes for us to feel safe, right? So everything is cause and effect, and we want to go to bed thinking, okay, the reason why it happened to such and such is because there's such and such. But is anything equivalent to dying? Is anything that you've done still equivalent to dying? And that is also a debate. That's debatable. But for us to sit there and judge someone for going, oh, okay, maybe because they hit someone, they deserve to die. That in itself should be another topic where we should be going, why do we think that way? Why do we feel that way? Why do we feel we need to eradicate someone completely because of a past wrong that they've done? If that's the case, then are we all even supposed to be here?
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? So what happened to forgiveness? What happened to,
compassion?
Yeah, compassion. You live, you learn. Forget these guys, kids, right? So it's like you said at the beginning, it's a very deep, murky water. But I think when it's all said and done, what separates? So I always say this, right? I listen to R. Kelly. I listen to I Believe I Can Fly, right? It taps into something in my heart. Maybe it ignites something, right? Gives me the motivation to go and do something amazing. Do I rubbish that song for that? Or do I go, okay, R. Kelly created it, but the song motivated me to do something. The song motivated me to get up in the morning when I was feeling depressed and actually didn't want to face the world, but it gave me the power to actually get up, shower, step into the world, and actually accomplish amazing things that day. Absolutely. So we cannot look at the artist and the artistry the same, or in my opinion anyway, we cannot look at the art and the artistry the same, because by doing that, one, you cannot devoid yourself of a lot of amazing things and amazing experiences, and even opening up dialogue like this, you know, and actually facing up to the fact that, you know what, not everyone is great. And these people that we deem great, actually we see those people great almost in a very bad light, where we actually have to look at the people that actually making the real differences. Because we would disregard the policeman.
Yeah.
We would disregard a nurse, right? And then go follow a Kanye or go follow a Chris Brown. And Chris Brown does amazing music, and we would hold that person in higher esteem than the nurse, who we probably wouldn't even give him our seat if they were in the train or bus. We will look over them and disregard them. And we live in a culture where we hold these people to so much esteem. And is it the right thing to do?
Absolutely. I think that's where we need to question ourselves as a culture. How much esteem we put onto the celebrity lifestyle and celebrities as a whole. So therefore, in our mind, they occupy this default space that is entrenched in our idealist perfection of what they should be.
And these people actually tend to be very flawed human beings.
Absolutely.
They're actually more flawed than the average person.
Absolutely. So it just leaves them little to no room to maneuver to be human beings like you are and like I am. And therefore, it just creates this sort of quick cancel culture of, I mean, I guarantee if a camera was following me 24 hours of my life,
there'll be a lot of editing, right?
Imagine if there was no editing and people could see most of that stuff. There's a lot of people that would just, you know,
like, what is what you call Kanye doing right now?
Exactly.
Right? Like what happened in this segment of his life that made him react the way he did?
Absolutely.
But that's in human existence.
Absolutely.
We go through peaks and valleys.
But then the counterpoint of that is there's a lot of celebrities that consciously do that. They consciously give you 24 hours of their life, all 24/7. They post everything. So they lure you into this sense of knowing who they really are based on what they've presented on social media. So therefore, it makes you quickly judge them when you see something that seems contradictory to that. You know, so it's like a two-edged sword because there's a lot of celebrity culture that also feeds that sort of mindset and that narrative.
That's true.
So therefore, it sort of lures people into this sense of knowing, okay, I know Kanye West. I know that he's pro-black and whatever. And all of a sudden, he's putting on MAGA hats. He's talking about, you know, I love Trump. He's talking about slavery was a choice. And all of a sudden, that just doesn't compute with everything else that he's shown you about himself before. So therefore, that lies like a conflicting emotion within yourself that, can I still actually love this guy? But his music is completely separate to that.
Because his music is not telling you straight choice.
Exactly.
And, you know, to be fair on him, I actually kind of got the point he was trying to make.
I mean, so do I.
Yeah, I think he was trying to make a good point. He was just not doing it correctly. So, and I believe there's certain things you can freestyle, and there's certain things you need to have a concise argument before you come out and you start saying it. And I think this was one of those example of he had a great thing to say, but he had not prepared himself on what to say.
Absolutely.
So he went in there and he started spraying, and it came out very, very wrong. Because I think what he was trying to make is, we live in a time now where we can do whatever we want to do. And we need to stop making excuses for the past transgressions and go and seize the bulls by the horn now and live our lives. But you
should have been a spokesman, bro.
I know.
I know. Clearly, he did not articulate that in any way whatsoever.
Dude, what are you saying?
Absolutely.
It's like, what are you doing?
And also, because we have the ability to look beneath what it is that the euphoria and the pandemonium is, we could decipher what he was trying to say. Kanye's not a stupid individual. But the point is, not many people are going to take what we took away from that situation. We just think people are just going to say, this guy's so insensitive. My grandmother was a slave. You know, all of this stuff. You're not winning from that situation.
You're not.
So to make such a false equivalency is so difficult to disassociate in the context of the times that we're in and in the context of the fact of the socioeconomic stability that he has. It just makes him feel and look so disconnected from the regular people, because he lives all the way in Calabasas or wherever he lives, and he's living this, you know, rich life, and people just thinking you just have no clue why we live, and it's so insensitive, and it's this and it's that. So I understand that absolutely.
No, it's an interesting one, but I think when it's all said and done, yeah, I can definitely separate the artist from the artistry because, in my opinion, I do not support the artist most of the time anyway. Yeah, I might have listened to their music, but I listen to their music because I like the music. There are few artists that I listen to their music because I like the art. Because let's be honest, no one really knows these artists unless maybe you are their spouse or you live with them. You don't really know this artist. You might buy into an idea of what you think you know of the artist, but it's really the artistry you connect with. And then if that person lives a life that exemplifies or mimics their artistry, then yeah, then good for them. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, listen to art, take whatever influences or whatever motivations you can get from the artistry and just move on.
Absolutely.
And live your life the way you're supposed to live your life, really.
Yo, I mean, Victor's running for president.
Hey, watch this space.
Where's your MAGA hat, bro? You already got the toupee, bro.
Hey, you
Shit.
know there's one. And I've got a blonde streak in that as well. Eh?
Damn. Just waiting for some locker room talk now. Shit, you're ripe to run the country. No, man, that's hilarious. So, what we got next? What's next?